The digression into the incident involving Reuven's Dudayim provides a backdrop to question number 4 regarding Rashi's commentary to the name Reuven, given to him by his mother Leah, and its prophetic undertones. To appreciate the underpinnings to this question, we will need to take a closer look at Bereshit 30:14, where we have a subject, Reuven, we have a verb, Vayimtza, and an object, Dudaim Basadeh. Reuven goes and finds, comes across, some Dudaim in the field, and brings those Dudaim to his mother. From the standpoint of critical analysis of the text, one can question the need for the inclusion of Bimei Ketzir Chitim, that this incident took place at the time that the wheat growing in the fields was ready for harvesting. Information that seems to be irrelevant at face value to the thrust of the pasuk, which is that Reuven found the Dudayim and brought them home. And this would be the problem that Rashi addresses when he writes Lahagid Shvachan Shel Shvatim. The inclusion of these 3 words, Bimei Ketzir Chitin, underscores the morality of Yaakov's children, in that She'et HaKatzir Haya, although there was an abundance of wheat growing in the fields, it was the time of the wheat harvest, nevertheless, V'lo Pashat Yado Begezel. Yaakov, whose occupation was a shepherd, did not own the wheat that was growing, and as such, should Reuven have taken some of that wheat, he would be violating the laws of theft. We are told that Reuven restrained himself from violating the laws of theft. Ella, rather, what he did collect were the Dudayim, which was Davar HaHefker, something that grew spontaneously, She'en Adam Makpid Bo, and because these Dudayim had no value to the farmers, they would not have objected to their removal, and hence not considered an act of theft. Rashi then goes on to define Dudayim as Shigli Eisav. It is some form of a herb, Ubeloshan Ishmael, and in Arabic, Yasmin. It would be the jasmine. Rashi's commentary would seem to be somewhat problematic in defining the Dudayim as jasmine, in that we would then need to clarify why this became such an issue between Leah and Rachel, to which Rachel felt it so important that she was willing to give up her conjugal rights with Yaakov. This issue is not addressed by Rashi, and putting Rashi aside, translating the Dudayim as mandrakes, some form of a herb that promoted conception, makes more sense. In contrast to Reuven and the sons of Yaakov, we have Eisav, who in Bereshit 26:34 we are told that when Eisav was 40 years old, he decided to marry. Wife number 1 was Yehudit, wife number 2 was Basmat. And the text goes on to inform us that Eisav's choice of marriage partners elicited a marat ruach, a provocation of the spirit to his parents. As with the incident involving Reuven and the Dudayim, we have a superfluous piece of information, namely that Eisav was 40 years old at the time. Rashi, in a rather harsh observation regarding the character traits of Eisav, accuses him of swinish hypocrisy. Both he and his father married when they reached the age of 40, but whereas his father spent his first 40 years in chastity, Eisav spent his 40 years committing acts of rape and adultery. In the words of Rashi, Eisav haya nimshal lechazir. Eisav is compared to a chazir, who kushehu shochev, when he lays down to rest, poshet talfav, he extends his hoofs, lomar, as if to say, Re'u, notice, shani tahor, that I am a kosher animal. So to kol mem shana haya Eisav tzad nashim, for the first 40 years of his life Eisav captured, subjected women to false imprisonment, mitachad yad ba'alehem, under the very noses of their husbands, uma'ane otam, and raping them. However, Keshahaya ben Mem, when he reached the age of 40, Amar, he said, Abba ben Mem Shana, just as my father, who, when he was 40 years old, Nasa Isha, married for the first time, Afani Kain, I will imitate and follow in the footsteps of my father, finally settle down and marry.